Hey, church. Welcome to the Just Like You podcast. You're on episode 8. We're so happy to have you here with us. And you're on with Sorzy.
And MJ.
Great to have you. We have something really exciting to share with you guys today.
Something new. Something
new.
fresh. It's our table.
We got a new table.
It's our table. It's sturdy. You can move the mics without the table just leaning over.
It
fits the vibe.
It was a beautiful marketplace find by MJ.
Shout out Hannah.
Wow.
From Facebook Marketplace.
It perfectly fits with the vibe. I really like it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and we also have Nigel here today.
Yeah, we also have a guest here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Special guest.
I don't know.
Mo
The table
Nige.
is much more important right now, I think, Much more staying power in this place.
Just kidding. We're very excited also about our special guest, Nigel. We're so excited to hear your story. You have something new and fresh to share with us today.
Got a fresh fit on for the pod.
Yeah. Fit check.
Sunday
Look at
best
that.
on a Wednesday.
Sunday best and the open-toed sandals.
We tried a little bit up here, and then we kind of messed up at the bottom.
First guest without socks.
No.
Not that we look. Anyways.
We had a whole conversation about this before filming. Welcome. We're happy to have you.
Yeah.
And Nigel's from the MAC region, for those of you who don't know. And we'll just kind of open the floor, have you intro yourself.
Sure.
What do you do?
Okay.
Who are you?
Yeah. Like you said, Mac. Mm-hmm. Been here a while now. I'm
Since when?
2019. Yeah. Right before COVID. And I'm just finishing my 5th year in software engineering, going into my 6th final year. Fingers crossed. And yeah, that's me, I think. Did I miss anything important there?
Where are you from?
Oh, I'm from India. I'm an international student. So, came here right from there.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get more into it.
Sure.
With your testimony too. Awesome. And like always, we're going to open with an icebreaker. And so question for you. If I told you that you were to do karaoke right now,
Oh, no.
what song would you pick and why?
You asked the one person who's messed up karaoke where the song has one word in it.
What's the song?
Okay, so
The
the song was Tequila, and it was blind karaoke, and then everyone around me did not know what song I could sing, so they picked the song which had one word in it, so that I couldn't mess it up, right?
Oh, the one that's like tequila.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's one word. It's one word, and I just completely messed it up too. I got to the word. As soon as the word passed, I'm like, oh my god, that's the word. So I came like.
Did you know the word?
I knew the word after I was supposed to say it.
Oh,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
that's a rough karaoke story.
I know.
So that's the go-to then, or what are we saying here?
So
I'm saying there probably isn't one.
What's a song that you are confident you know most of the words to, even if you can't keep the tune of it?
Okay.
We can do worship songs too.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, worship songs are kind of ingrained into my memory somehow.
Okay, let's
As
do a
they
karaoke
should.
song.
A karaoke song. Exactly. Okay, a fun one, because everyone gets into it, would always be Mr. Brightside.
Is worship not fun?
No. Yeah.
That's mess.
That's crazy.
She was waiting to say
I
that
know,
one.
she baited me, right? Exactly.
Mr. Brightside's a banger though.
It is.
That's how you get
something
someone to
How's
cancel
that
that
one
church.
Yeah, you don't
Ooh.
want to be canceled at church.
Is that the Let Me Go?
That's the one.
Yeah,
Yep, that's the
good.
one.
Well, that's a good one.
Wait, how does it go? I think you need to sing.
I'm not singing
Can you
that.
give us the first?
Oh, no.
Just first verse.
I don't even remember it. I can sing it if I see the whole point of karaoke is you got
Do
the
you
words
sing
in
it?
front of you.
Okay, do you sing it with like your normal singing voice, or do you sing it with the like?
Oh. I mean, if you're doing
Let
karaoke, you gotta
me-
try.
Yeah,
Of
okay.
course.
Just making sure.
You had to commit.
Wow.
What's yours?
Yeah.
Um.
Yeah, you can toss me that question and not answer it either.
Well, the point of the icebreaker is we get to know the guest a little bit more.
Well, I can get to know you guys a bit more too now.
I feel like a lot of Brandon Lake songs. I think I could do
On
word
karaoke?
for word. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Let's think. You know Actually, no. We're just going to end it there.
Yeah,
We're going to get back
let's
into
just cut this entire segment. That's fine. All right, moving on.
Okay.
Yep.
Back to what we're here for.
Yes.
Sophie's going to say the episode's unhinged again.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm just
I think
kidding.
Soph had a part in me getting here, so this is on her.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I think, just for context, Soph Paquette, she was watching Gary's episode, and she said this is the most unhinged yet.
I didn't think it was unhinged. I thought it was
Yeah.
perfectly fine.
You know, I didn't realize that Gary was Gary I knew, and now I'm very excited to see that episode now.
Yeah, it's a good one.
It was a
You
gas
should watch
episode.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, back to
Okay.
why we're here. Your story. Next question that we always start with
Okay.
is, what is a piece of scripture that has been most influential in your walk with Christ, and why?
Okay. This piece of scripture, I pulled it up because I can't remember the verse exactly. I remember always the gist of it, and so it was really helpful, as we'll see through the testimony itself. But okay, it's James chapter 1, verses 2-4. I'll just read it out real quick. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything.
That's good.
Yeah.
Love James.
Honestly, that whole chapter is really good, but it's so dense. It's so much different things.
Oh, 100%.
It's a great chapter to go back to, though.
No, James is a very dense book.
Oh, yeah.
It's a very to the point book. I like it.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any thoughts?
I always think about like the part that it talks about like your tongue.
Yeah, that's a good part, too.
Yeah.
Okay, back to you.
Okay.
Let's open the floor. Let's get to know you and your family of origin.
Okay.
And your background and where you grew up and family life.
Sure.
Let's get into it.
So it's going to be everything right up till I get to uni. So,
Sure.
Okay.
Born in India. I have a
Where in
younger brother
India?
as well, South India in Chennai. So mom, dad, brother, that's my family. So we lived there.
What's your brother's name?
Neil.
Neil.
Yeah.
Neil and Nigel.
Exactly.
Older or younger?
Younger, 4 years.
Okay.
So yeah. He actually just started uni too.
Oh, right. Yeah, you were saying that.
Yeah. We lived in India about till 2010. So I was, I think, 8-ish. Then we moved to Thailand because my dad's work moved him there for 3 years. So we were there till 2013. Then came back to India, finished high school there. Then came here. Yeah.
Okay, so India
Questions?
to Thailand, and then Thailand you started high school and then you finished high school in India?
No, I was 8. So
You clearly weren't listening.
I got lost.
it's all right. No, it is confusing. Honestly, I've got people telling me like I'm from every which part of the world, even though I'm like it's not that complicated. I don't think. But anyways,
Well, I think your dad did get moved around a lot for work.
yes, I kind of understand.
They're in
it
South
now.
Africa now.
Well, Vietnam now. So that's
Vietnam
exactly.
now.
Word.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
A lot of moving, but yeah, for me growing up until I got here, there was just one move. It was Thailand and back.
Right.
Wow.
And growing up, you were saying in our conversation earlier that you grew up in the church.
I did, yeah. So both my parents are Christian. Most of my extended family also is Christian.
Okay.
So we grew up in the church. It was a big church, but I realized at my time at Lyft as well, it's very similar. And like, at least the way my parents raised us, like the focus on serving, community, everything else was there, even though the church was quite big.
Okay.
And it was very intentional. And so, yeah, it was great to grow up in a church there.
So were you always just like involved in like ministry since you were a kid?
To some degree, yeah.
Okay.
I was usually on like, so my mom ended up doing a lot with like the kid stuff, and so I ended up helping a lot there wherever I could.
Okay.
Ended up like my parents ended up, I say forcing, but getting us to learn instruments, both me and my brother. So we ended up helping out with kids ministry, whatever stuff was happening there.
Honestly,
Uh huh.
as much as I wouldn't have liked it at the time, I really wished my parents
yeah.
made me take an instrument.
It's so good. I'm
Growing
kind of
up.
sad they didn't put more instruments in my like path. I'm
Because
like,
what do you play guitar?
guitar
pretty
yeah.
well.
Yeah, but they actually put me on keyboard first, and then I just switched once
Yeah.
my
I feel
neighbor
like that's
taught
a
me.
good instrument to start, though.
Oh yeah, so much help. Like the music theory carries you a long way.
Yeah. Even just having a foundation as a kid,
Yeah.
even if like you don't practice for a while, you can always come back to it as
Oh,
an
yeah,
adult. And it's
exactly.
going to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways.
What did your
back to
brother
you.
play?
He also started on the keyboard. Then
Okay.
I taught him the guitar, and he unlike me stuck with both and is probably better than me at both, and he's like really good. Yeah, it's kind of
Wow.
crazy.
Okay. Wow.
Okay, back to you.
Yes. Okay. I mean, so before uni, that's feel like that covers a lot of it.
Okay. I got a question.
Yes, go for
So
it.
you moved from India to Thailand. What did the
Yes.
like church scene look like for like did your church have like another
Oh no,
church plant there? So you guys just joined a new one, I'm guessing?
we joined a new one.
Okay.
Yeah, and so like that's usually what happens when you move.
Yeah.
And so we found a church there, and kind of dived into it. It was not as big as the one in India.
Was it similar like focus on like ministry and stuff?
Well, I think there was focus on ministry. There wasn't as much focus on like, your smaller groups or Bible studies or simple churches we have here.
Yeah, okay.
But my dad kind of took it on himself to start one there.
Wow.
And
cool.
so
Cool.
like even at other places we moved after I came here and they moved, they've kind of been very intentional about like being part of the church and doing that kind of thing.
Wow.
And
That's
so they
cool.
started one there, and that was pretty cool too.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
What was the just church life in India versus Thailand?
Ooh. I feel like in India, I was kind of like, I guess I did feel they were the same because like I was always part of like the serving part, but I felt obviously big churches, it's very easy to like just be apathetic and be a consumer.
Yeah.
While in Thailand, it was a smaller group. Everyone was intentional, a lot of serving, a lot of need there too.
Right.
And so, yeah,
Was it like a different culture too?
exactly.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, 100%.
Definitely. But no, I love those years in Thailand. They were great.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you were in India, and then your parents sent you all the way across the world to come
Yeah.
to school in Canada.
Yep.
How did your family unit come to that decision, and what was the moving process like?
It was quite interesting. It was kind of just a bunch of like random things that kind of led to that.
Yeah.
Coming out of Thailand, moving back to India, my curriculum was different there. So they found a school in India that had that same international curriculum rather than the main basic Indian one. That would have had me go to like university in India. And also kind of just luckily ended up in a group of like all my classmates. A bunch of them were American expats, so like Indians who'd lived there in America. Their parents had
Wow.
lived there before, something like that.
Okay.
They were all
Interesting.
planning on coming back here. And so with them, I actually applied. I just kind of was in that group. We did all the tests together, the SAT, whatever else to do.
Right.
And applied to I actually applied to the States and to Canada. And then between the two, kind of just figure out, okay, what can we do here? What do we want to go for? Yeah. And just ended up coming here. And I didn't even apply to anything in India, which is actually crazy to think about.
So did you have any of those people like come to Mac with you?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know, like 2 or 3 of them came to Canada elsewhere. Most of
Right,
them went
'cause
to the
they're from-
States.
yeah.
Yeah, so.
Wow, that's cool.
How were the SATs?
Did you cook?
I did decently. Okay. Okay. So, okay. I did pretty well on the main SATs. We had like the subject SATs, which most people don't know about if they aren't like doing like what I was doing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I know
those,
nothing about SATs.
I'll be honest, I crushed those. But
Let's go.
yeah.
99th percentile.
Oh, yeah. I got like 100% on 2 of them. So,
Let's go.
Not a big deal.
Not a big deal.
No, not at all. But yeah, no.
Okay, cool. So why Canada?
Yeah.
Oh.
Why Mac
See-
after that?
Yeah, why Mac?
And then you keep breaking it down.
Okay, yeah. The reason I led up with all of the other stuff about it just kind of happened
'Kay.
is like, I don't really remember all the details of like why. It was like Mac was a nice school. They had a decent program. My dad made a big point of you're applying to an engineering program.
Okay.
That was one of the main criteria. So like I didn't apply to U
Okay.
of T and stuff like that because I knew I wanted to go to software or comp sci.
Right.
But I don't think at the time U of T had a software engineering. They had comp sci.
Okay.
So like Mac was one of those options where like you had software engineering or computer science.
What were the other
engineering.
options? Waterloo?
I think I applied to Waterloo. I think I applied to McGill, possibly. I applied to like, I'm remembering the ones I got into in the States as well. Like I got into, like Texas was one of them, A&M. UCSD was an interesting one.
Wow.
That would have been cool.
UC.
University of California, San Diego.
Oh,
it would have been right by Silicon Valley to my knowledge. So that would have also been crazy.
Wow.
But yeah.
Question. Is it when you do a computer science degree, do you still, is it still an engineering degree?
No, exactly.
Oh, which is why you wanted specifically software.
Well, I wasn't picky. My dad was. But, and I get it. Yeah. I mean, he's an engineer and so on. So he kind of understood
In software or
the
no?
No, he's a mechanical engineer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was it mainly he wanted you to be an engineer because of the opportunities that he knows
Pretty
comes
much.
with an engineering degree?
Yeah, exactly. He knew the value of it from at least from the like back home. Right?
Right.
A lot of like academia is very important there,
Yep.
right?
Okay.
And what it gives you there. So he kind of was like, "Oh, engineering's important."
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So you come to Canada.
Yeah.
You don't know anybody.
Yeah.
You started at Mac.
I did.
How'd
Keep
you
going
end up?
from there.
Yeah, how'd you end up here?
Okay, let's see that.
Here as
I
in
gotta,
Lyft.
Here,
Yeah.
as in this seat.
Oh, we're gonna take a lot longer then if you go there. But I actually got to give credit to my dad there. So he came with me when you dropped me off, and during I think Club Fest or something, my dad was walking around, saw all the clubs, and I think he was looking for a church for me, and so
No
was I.
way.
But he was a bit more intentional about it at the time.
Yep.
And he found the Lyft booth. And so he
Cool.
picked up a card or a gum or something and then brought it back to me, being like, "Hey, I found your church."
Wow.
Yeah.
You didn't actually go to the booth.
I don't think I did.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
You're just chilling in res? What res were you in?
Oh, I was in Bates. It was horrible.
Oh.
Would not recommend. I think Josh McMullen, the guy at church, he CA'd for them last year. Would not
Doesn't
recommend.
recommend
No,
it?
definitely would not. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
At
I
least
remember
it's apartment style though. Like, did you cook any of your own meals, or did you still
kind of.
get
I mean, you have a
plan?
meal plan in
Yeah.
first
Oh,
year.
you had roomies?
I had roomies.
Oh, that's sick.
And they were very disorganized. Let's say that. Yeah. I don't think I ever actually met two of them, and I had four
Weird.
or like
Wow.
three. Yeah, it was interesting.
W Mans.
But when I came to Lyft that first week, I think there was a baptism that week. I remember because a
Okay.
friend of
Who?
mine got baptized. Jess Haverkamp.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I talked to Christian that day. That's when I met Christian.
Paquette.
Okay.
Paquette. Yeah.
Pac-Man.
Exactly. So I remember it was back in. So we were at CIBC before COVID, and potlucks were in the second floor below, in the club space. And so
Right.
like we'd had that tiny room, and me and Christian were off on the side sitting on high chairs just talking. And I was telling him about like my old church back home and how like this church was very similar-ish. And we were just chatting, and that's kind of how that started. Ended up in a simple church. Yeah.
Cool. Did he give you the invite?
I don't remember. I'm assuming yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still part of a simple church now, right? So
Right.
yeah, it's stuck clearly.
Who was
Cool.
there when you joined?
Oh, it was me, Yusuf, Andrew was there. Yusuf, oh sorry, wait, I said Yusuf again. Me, Christian, Andrew. Yusuf would make guest appearances. There's Brian Jung was a guy. Chris Bedford, who comes to Pinky as well.
Yeah.
I think those are the guys. Those are the guys I remember. Yeah,
Jeez.
it was a different time.
W Squad.
Oh, it was so much fun. Yeah,
That's great.
we used to hold it at the old Rubik's, which was fun. Yeah.
What was your experience with Simple Church the first few times?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
you're basically the only student, right?
Was I? Probably, yeah, actually, yeah. I would think so. I'm
Oh,
sure there were
that's
other
interesting.
students.
Brian was studying then, or?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Brian would be the only one else who might have been studying, but I think he was working at the time. Yeah. I'm not remembering the details. It's 5 years ago. It's a long time.
It's
but-
interesting because it's not usually the norm with Simple Church
Oh, yeah.
in terms of students to
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
graduated ratios. Anyways, continue.
True. I mean, our simple church right now, well, they're not graduated. I mean, they're students.
Graduate students.
But they're graduates. We have like
Yeah.
Right.
a large density of PhDs somehow. And I'm like, that's crazy.
Cool.
Yeah. But no, we had Simple Church in person with Christian and the guys for like till basically COVID hit, which was about like 8 months or so. And then things kind of went a little haywire with COVID, obviously. And somehow I got
Let's
into...
unpack it.
Yeah. I got into a Simple Church with Shane and Yusuf. And so that kind of happened. I think I was kind of grandfathered into the apprenticeship somehow, because I don't think we actually had an explicit conversation about it before it happened,
Okay.
which is quite interesting. That's a theme through my entire thing, just being like, you're doing this now. But yeah, that happened there. And that was good. We were doing it online. We tried to do stuff in person, but COVID restrictions.
Right.
And then, okay, so we'll lead into the testimony of going into COVID and how that happens. But now we go into fall semester, second year. So COVID's happening, full swing. And then, so that
This
was
is 2020.
2020.
Yeah.
2020 fall. Oh, yeah, I have a hard time keeping track of the timelines, honestly.
We'll keep you on track.
I got you.
That'll help. I appreciate it. And then, yeah, so that semester I had like 5 courses. I did 4 of them, and just one of them I just had no motivation for. I just did not care. Left it to the side, and I failed it. And so this thus begins the downward spiral. So we'll go down there next. So coming out of that, this is the first time ever having something like that happen.
Okay.
And I was freaking out, and I was terrified. I was actually very terrified to tell my dad. And so I kind of delayed that for like a week or 2.
Who's the first person you told?
I don't know. Also, when a lot of this was happening, not many people around knew. I barely told anyone. So like even at the worst parts, like this is minute compared to how bad it gets.
Interesting.
But like I only told people out of necessity. And so, yeah, I finally did tell my dad around like Christmas-ish, around the December break. And he took it a lot better than I thought he would. He was very kind. He was like, yep, it happens. You know, you can, you learn from your mistakes, which I did not do. Learn from your mistakes, do better next time, so on. Yeah. So I was like, okay, that's good. Great conversation with my dad. And then we move on to the next semester, winter
2021.
Second year, winter 2021. Yeah. And so now, because I failed that one course, I took one course less. Besides the point, because I took 4 courses and I failed 3 of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is the following semester?
Following semester. And so, yeah, I just did not like online school. And like, I can't just blame it on that in COVID. Like, I just did not have the discipline, motivation to do it myself and keep myself on track. So I failed that, and that kind of tanked me. Just me, my self-image, worth, everything else, just kind of went down the drain a bit.
Because academia was like so big.
A big thing for me, yeah. I felt like, I don't know, I kind of feel like I had it in my head, like, if I don't do this, I have no value.
Yeah.
Right? Or I'm just like, can't be loved, whatever else, so on.
But especially thinking about where you grew up and how important like academia was for your family.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's natural for your identity to be in academia when that's all you know.
Oh, for sure. Like,
up.
yeah, we were pushed to do everything like in academia to like the best possible thing.
Right.
Like we go to classes outside of school, like study all those things hours and hours and practice as much as you can. Like it was crazy how much effort we put into that.
Yeah. Were there like programs at your school to do that?
It wasn't specifically programs. We'd basically just take out of class like tuition or like tutors to like teach you the stuff better than the teachers did.
Okay.
And I will be honest, they did really well. I'll be honest. Like I really enjoyed going to those classes. I just kind of wish my school were those teachers rather than the teachers I did have, because some of them were bad. Like one of them I did go to the same teacher outside, which was just more practice and everything, because you kind of need that when you're taking a very like strenuous exam. But yeah, so like it was very drilled into me,
Yeah.
You gotta do well. So like I think I maybe failed one like practice test in like high school at some point, and which most people did as well, because the teacher was terrible at the time.
Right.
And like my parents freaked out about that, so that kind of sets it into you. But
so the end of that semester.
Yeah, exactly. Failed that. That hurt. I don't remember what I did that summer. I think I just kind of just went by it with trying to just avoid life and everything else. Just kind of just got through it. I don't even remember much of what happened that summer. I know I did stuff, but yeah. Then came the fall semester of 2021. I basically took the course I failed initially in the fall, and I took a different course as well. Thankfully, I got through both of those. That was fine. Then now comes the winter of 2022, I believe. Right?
I think this was when I joined your Simple Church.
Oh, that might be the case. Is that then?
Yeah, with like Callum and Andrew.
Yeah. Christian,
and
Callum, Andrew, all those guys. Oh yeah, it was a big Simple Church at the time too.
Kyle was around.
Yeah, it was an interesting time. Before that semester started, though, I went to South Africa to visit my parents, because my parents had moved there now for work. And yeah, so because I just failed before and everything else, I was a little hesitant, didn't want to go, because it's just like it puts a lot of tension on my family.
Right.
Me being here and then having no idea what's going on, and I know I kind of lied and did this, like gave excuses, so on and so forth, kind of get around my behavior or what was actually going on and things like that. So like it put a lot of strain on that, and like like I also know it puts a lot of financial stress on my family. Like we were already stretching it to the limit sending me here. Okay. Failing a semester tanks that a lot.
And with international fees
exactly.
and stuff too.
Exactly. So that did hurt. So I went back, and I was like, trying to keep control of everything I could, even though I didn't have control. And what ended up happening was that was the time where all flights in the world were keeping on getting canceled, which is a fun time. So I couldn't come back. Basically, I had planned to stay there for the December break, but I couldn't. My flight kept getting delayed to come back, and it wasn't just me. So like Mac had basically said, okay, we're gonna go in person, but we're not going to until people can get back. So I gave about a month leeway, but still, like I felt like I was trapped there, and so my childish instinct was like, oh, I don't like this year. I'm going to be in protest, and I'm basically not going to meet anyone here, not get to know anyone here, not be intentional about my time here, or all of that. Just kind of like living like, oh, no, I'm leaving. Like, whatever else. It was very childish behavior in hindsight.
Because you didn't know when you could leave South Africa.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It was like, I mean, if you're there somewhere, use your time well there, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I did not do that, basically. But it kept getting delayed week after week after week, inch by inch. Finally, one week there at the church, talking to some other guys like around my age, and one of them was telling their story about basically kind of being in a similar situation of being somewhere they didn't want to. And basically, the moral of the story was they finally had to realize, oh, wait, God put me here for a reason, no matter how long or short, even if I want to be somewhere else, might as well use it for what he hadn't planned, right? It's kind of like a slap in the face, kind of like, oh, yeah, think clearly here. Don't be childish. And I'm like, okay, you know what? That's fair. So then I went and talked to one of the guys. I'm like, okay, you know what? I don't know how I'm going to be here. Might as well, when I'm here, I'll help out at the church, do whatever else, because that's normally what I do.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I said that, right, that Sunday, the next flight I had like 2 days later did not get canceled.
Wow.
So it's like, oh, yeah, it was very funny to look back and like, God's like, he held you there long enough to learn your lesson. He's like, okay, you can go now.
Mm-hmm. Like the second that you surrender
right?
to the Lord, then the opportunity comes up.
So that was interesting.
So we're going to fast forward a little bit.
Yeah. Let's do the next semester came.
Okay.
And I failed all of it. So this is the second time I'm doing my second semester of second year, which is a lot of seconds there. So if it's hard to track.
Yep.
But I failed that semester again. And that was the nail in the coffin. That was terrible. Now all of the tension, everything else comes to a head. It's very bad. I'm doing my best to keep in control of what I can, which I don't have. And I'm like, okay, what do I do here? How can I stay here? How do I not get sent? Like, my parents are like, come visit us. We're a family. We can figure something out. I'm like, I don't want to come back because if I come back, I don't know if I'm coming back to Canada, right? If I'm going to visit my parents, I'm like, they have no reason. I've not given them any reason to trust me to do anything well here. Why would they let me come back?
You think they would just like pull you?
I thought they would pull me.
Wow.
Yeah. So like, I was like, if I leave, I'm not coming back. That was where my mind was at. And I was freaking out. So I was like trying to find a solution. I'm like, okay, I'll get a job here. I'll find maybe transfer programs. There's no way I can afford Mac on my own, which is crazy. So I'm like, maybe I'll supply to somewhere else, do something else. I was trying all that. I got a job at Fortino's for the time being in the summer. And then my parents finally convinced me to come back to visit them in South Africa, like second half of the summer. And I was like, I fought them tooth and nail to that. I'm like, I will come 2 weeks and that's it.
Can I interject?
Yes.
So normally, for context, we have like a pre-interview chat just to get to know people's stories a little bit. I just want to prompt something that you said yesterday. Okay. And you were talking about serving, and you were talking about specifically Pinky Lewis, one of our serving initiatives at Mac.
Sure.
And you were saying about how in all of this time of struggling with your academic identity and like your identity in academics instead of your identity in Christ.
Yeah.
You were saying that Pinky was really good for you and for that. Can you tell us why?
That's good to get this done before we move forward.
Yeah.
Throughout this whole time, like I'd be showing up to Pinky regularly, everything else around it. Like as much as like I was trying my best to keep in control of things, I was still serving at that. And serving at Pinky basically allowed me to kind of go there and like be like, know that, okay, there's more than just me. If I'm going to Pinky, I'm not going there for me anymore.
It's grounding.
Exactly. I'm shutting off anything that's for myself. And I'm like, I'm here for something else. It's not about me. Just show up, serve. You're here for someone else, the people there. So that was really good to kind of keep me grounded in that sense. And because
I feel like a lot of people can relate, and this is coming out at a time where students are thinking about going back to school again. It's going to be mid-August. And I feel like I wanted that to be said on the podcast because it can be difficult to, like when you're struggling in school, it can seem so overwhelming and so all-consuming.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And one of the best things to do, there's like, yes, absolutely surrendering it to the Lord, but serving, getting out of your head, getting out of yourself to do something for someone else, to plan your time around someone else, to serve other people. Yeah. So many benefits, but one of the things is to realize that it's not all about us.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right.
Summer.
This is where
you go to South Africa.
We're going to turn around. We're getting a turnaround, so it's going to get better now.
Okay.
So I went to South Africa. Everything was still going very badly at this point. It hadn't turned around yet, but I was there with my family. The fights that were happening over the phone were now like slightly in person. And basically my parents wanted me to stay longer. Like stay to the end of the summer at least is what they were saying. I'm like, if I stay any longer, I'm not going back.
Yeah.
My head.
You're like, but my job at 14 hours.
I know. I actually said that, which is crazy to think about. But but I finally, okay, so that was happening. They were trying to convince me. But finally, I think my mom suggested, like, hey, why don't you apply for a job here or something that's in your field or whatever. I'm like, because my reason was like, if I'm, what am I going to make here that's going to compare to there? Or like, I might as well enjoy going back here, right? But they're like, what if you got something in your field? And so I was like, that's not happening in 2 weeks. It was like also just a week left or so. But they were like, might as well. And we basically gave my resume to like some guys at Ford there. And but we hadn't heard a response. And my flight was on a Sunday or something. And we didn't expect a response before then. But what ended up happening? Oh, yeah.
You got a response.
Well, I ended up going to a Bible study. And then they were talking about making decisions out of a sound mind, which is great timing for that conversation. So I finally was like, okay, I've been living this last year and a half, making terrible decisions out of fear, controlling everything I can, so on and so forth. I'm like, I'm not trusting God. So I had to choose it was a scary decision, probably the scariest I had to make in that time or ever. I don't think so. So like to basically say, I'm going to intentionally skip my flight on the off chance I get this and be like, God will handle it.
Wow.
And that was terrifying because I was fighting my parents on it every single way. I'm like, I'm still flying back. But when I made that decision, my dad picked me up and I got in the car and I told him that. And he looked at me like I was crazy because I'd been opposing it every step of the way until then. But yeah, so I ended up making that decision. The next day they asked me to come in to see what I can do and like if I can help them. Basically what happens is I ended up getting the position. Wow. So basically it was like, I ended up working there for a month and a half until the end of the summer. And that was really good for me. So that summer in South Africa basically kind of reset me and recentered me.
How? And
set me up. So it was multiple parts. So first, the work itself was good. I basically had to teach myself how to do that work. It wasn't something I'd known before. So I had to do my research, do all that stuff. But once I started working there, I felt like I was providing value. Like my work was actually, at least for what I could do, it was helpful for the teams there, what they were doing. It helped whatever else. I had provided value. So it was rebuilding a bit of my self-worth, right? And it's like I have some value to provide. Because at that point, I felt like useless. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Then even outside of that, like the church there, going to the Bible studies with the young adults there, like how we have it Lift, that also gave me community and people to talk to and other things as well. That kind of just also recentered me and brought up what actually mattered. You know, building my identity not on all these other things, but resetting to be like, okay, what actually matters here? It's God, what he has planned, so on and so forth, you know?
Like I'm so much more than my academic identity.
Yeah, and so that really kind of reset me. And there was also another whole thing of like the church was going through like this series of like controversial questions. How do we talk about it? So it's kind of like primer for like get all these information before. Anyways, I really enjoyed those month and a half after I started working there. So much so I didn't want to come back at that point. I was like, I'm happy.
That's such a wild 180.
It's crazy. I was like, I'm happy in South Africa. I don't need to go back. But that didn't end working out. My parents were like, you got to go back to school. Yeah. So I'm like, okay. So I came back. Since then, it's been, God's just taking care of me. And I've been learning to, trust him and kind of lean on that, not worry about my studies, everything. You have a question?
Did you pass?
Yes. So after that, I got through those semesters. I even got through the next year as well. So I'm in my final year now. Yeah, God's provided. The other crazy thing I like to think of, like, God providing after that, like, I can directly tie to that decision there, is because if I hadn't had my job at Ford there, learning that basically specific niche skill that I had to teach myself, I wouldn't have my job right now that I've been working at for a year and a half, because I'm doing the exact same work on a larger scale.
Which is?
I'm at TD.
What's the work? Yeah.
It's okay. The work is very hard to explain. Not many people understand it when I explain. It's only like a handful. But I work, simply put, I work with data. I build a lot of like systems to track and manage a lot of people. I basically build systems that allow people to do their work efficiently and track everything and like plan things out, do all that.
It's such a software eng answer.
I know.
Yeah, my work's just really hard to explain.
The thing is, it's not really software either. That's the thing. That's like, it's not software, which is why it's hard to explain to software people too.
True.
But yeah, if I hadn't got that job in South Africa, I would not have this job, because that's exactly the work I'm doing. That's the reason they hired me. Okay. And that's been a blessing for so many things in my life, and I've been able to use that. So yeah.
That's cool. It's cool that God's really shown his promise of like when he honors his children being faithful and making that faithful decision to stay and like to take that opportunity in South Africa led to really a summer of restoration in your identity in Christ, not in your academics. It brought opportunities once you did come back, but most of all helped you understand that your identity is in so much more than your school, which is really cool. I wanted you to share, if you could, you were saying about a conversation you had with your dad.
Oh, yes. Okay.
I mean, what did he say? I thought it was cool.
Right. Okay. So once I've come back, and also like MJ said it before, like I was doing the apprenticeship and then leading at that point as well, at simpler stuff. Yeah. And I'd taken more and more like steps of like, I guess, responsibility to some degree, or doing more stuff with the church. One of the bigger ones was earlier this year. And when I took that responsibility, I had a conversation with my dad. Also, what happened after that restoration was my father and I got closer, which was nice because we could talk about a lot of more things more like freely and talk about things. But like, really smart man, loves God. And so he had this conversation with me when I told him I was taking that responsibility. And his words were, basically, he said, pray to God to humble you and crush you completely so that you are nothing, but God is everything. And so anything good that happens, all the glory goes to God. And also so that you're willing to take whatever comes, because you will be facing struggle, persecution, whatever else, bad things that come from, because you've taken that step, and you need to be willing to take it because it's not about you. And that really like stuck with me.
Wow.
And it really ties to the verse you chose too.
Oh yeah.
And it is true. Like, we're not promised an easy life.
Yeah.
But we are promised that God is good. And we're far from perfect, but we have a God who is.
Yeah.
And he will provide. And an identity in him cannot be shaken. An identity in academics,
easily,
it's not fulfilling.
Do you still sometimes struggle with like your identity in like academics and stuff?
To some degree, it does help now that what I care about is the fact that I want to be done rather than doing well. Yeah. I'm like, it's a blessing that I've got to the point where I know like I just need to get done, because like at least near future after that, it's kind of sorted out for me. So it's just like I just need to get it done with. So I don't have much tied to it other than the fact that I just have to do it. Yeah. Yeah.
So we kind of talked about like serving and how that grounds you. So what other ways would you say would be, or tips would be helpful for others who struggle with like a similar thing?
Oh, okay. So we're talking about like grounding into like identity in Christ. Is that what we're talking about?
Or like what kind of things do you remind yourself to like root your identity in the fact that you're a child of God?
Yeah. I find the one that I come back to often, I guess, is because like I made a lot of mistakes in those times. Yeah. And like we still make mistakes to this day, right? It's easy for me to fall into the trap of like, oh, God doesn't love me anymore. Like it's like it's like lies you tell yourself, like, because we know what God said, like, and so on. Like you can't mess up enough for God not to love you, not to come back, pull you back. Like that was an example. I was like the lowest and made the most, like at least in my mistakes I made in my life, right? And God still chose to love me at my lowest point and pull me out, right?
Yeah.
And so
there's nothing that disqualifies you from the grace of God.
And that's something I have to constantly remind myself of, just to make sure you don't fall into that trap of like, just being self-pity and everything else, right? Because God does love you.
And there's like when you know that you have a tendency to like shift where your identity is, you have to be so vigilant at reminding yourself of the truth.
Yes, exactly.
And thank God for the scriptures, and it's so filled with truth. Like there's so many statements about the unending love of God and how he like consistently pursues his children.
Exactly. There's only one identity that can't be changed or shifted or struck, right?
Snap.
And that's something I had to learn the hard way.
Cool.
But it was definitely worth learning.
Jeez. Nigel's in the kitchen.
Let's go. Okay. That was a
long one,
great.
I think.
That was a long one.
Okay.
We'll pray to end us
here.
Is there anything in specific we can pray for you about in this season?
Okay. Over the past 2 weeks or so, I've kind of got sick and like hurt my back, so on and so forth. I'm fine now, I think, but it's resulted in me kind of losing a lot of my routines and my structure.
Okay.
And so I'm struggling getting back on some of the horses I need to get back on to do things consistently.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's pray us out. Dear Lord, thank you for today. Thank you for this podcast and how we can reach people at different regions. We can introduce Nigel and his story. Thank you for Nigel. Thank you for the ways that you have provided and challenged him, yet supported him and loved him throughout all seasons and all aspects of his testimony. Lord, thank you for your constant pursuing of your children. Thank you that your love never ends and never fails and never gives up on us. I just want to lift Nigel up to you today. I pray that you would heal his back and his injury, and that he can get back to the routines. I pray that as he goes into this next school year, that he would know where his identity is rooted, and that an identity in you is the only one that can never be shaken. That any other place that we put our worth will not hold up when the trials and tribulations come in our lives, God. And we are not promised an easy life, but we are promised a Lord who provides and who gives us everything that we need. And I pray that you would remind Nigel of that this school year. And I pray just a blessing over Nigel for the rest of the summer, that he would go into the next school year just feeling refreshed. In your name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Cool.
Thanks
for having us.
Nige, appreciate you, man.
All right.
Thank you.
That was good.
All right.
Pod out.
Peace. Thanks for tuning in. And we're done.